Itagat kokeny chitab Kalenjin kimiten tetutiet nebo tililindo rani. Kitesetai keng'ololi akobo kaimutyet nebo korotik notok ko nelweldos korotik anan thrombosis. Kokimite daktari kobun emetab Uganda notok ko Dr. Henry Dungu ne tesetai koarorwech akobo nito. Welcome back, Dr. Dungu. Before our short break, we were discussing about the significance of the Thrombosis Day. So, do you have other programs that you use to sensitize the public about the thrombosis?
Yeah, the World Thrombosis Day event is not a one-day event, but only that on that day is when all communities come together and talk about thrombosis. But it's an ongoing campaign that happens every day to let everyone get to know about blood clots. Societies in different parts of the world, in different countries, in different regions, continue to advocate for blood clots. And also raising awareness among, for example, hospitals, because we know that 60% of blood clots actually occur in hospitals. So they get to understand the importance of prevention of these clots in people who are at high risk of getting blood clots. So it's very, very significant today, and we encourage people to, volunteer in any way they can to be part of the campaign to stop blood clots.
Mm-hmm. Doctor, how do you compare Uganda, your country, to Kenya in terms of sensitization? Are we making inroads?
Well, I hope we are at the same speed, but different countries might be at different speeds of, sensitization. But we've been, trying to pass messages in all countries within the region, Kenya and Uganda especially, so that people can get to understand. But I think Kenya has done a great job in promoting blood clot awareness, because the media has been extremely helpful in reaching out to the people. Because you are the voice of the voiceless, it helps, the media helps us reach out to one about blood clots. And I've been getting, communication that I got this from Kenya, talking about this. So I think, Kenya, you're doing a good job.
Thank you. We are grateful about that. Now let's move to treatment. How do you go about treating someone who has thrombosis?
That's extremely important, because it's not good to talk about something that has no remedy. Blood clots, much as are extremely fatal, if diagnosed early, we can treat them and someone gets better. But if not diagnosed and started on treatment, they can be fatal. When you come to a hospital and you have a blood clot or thrombosis, there are various ways of treatment. But usually we give you medicines that are called anticoagulants or blood thinners. It is the mainstay of treatment. And these blood thinners can be in form of an injection, all tablets, or a combination. For a long time, people use that, treatment for blood clots because of the risk of bleeding. It was the message that was being propagated. But now we know that with advancements in treatment, actually the risk of bleeding has reduced. And we use various treatments to do that. Depending on where the clot is, sometimes we may have to admit someone into the intensive, especially if a clot is in the lungs and it is big enough to compromise your life. We may have to advise you to be in a hospital, and we may use what we call clot busters. These are medicines that take away the clot. They make it like melt immediately. We rarely use them because of the complications associated. So the commonest are to use blood thinners that are available. We have those that do not even need monitoring. They are called direct oral anticoagulants. There are various types on the market. We have those that need monitoring as well. But all in all, you cannot do medication for blood clots. You have to be seen by a doctor, even if it's not an expert in blood medicine, but at least a doctor who has understood about how to treat a blood clot.
Mm-hmm.
And usually treatment is not a one-day thing. The minimum we can treat you for is about 3 months, depending on whether the clot was provoked or not provoked. If we know that what caused your clot is reversible, then we treat you for a short time. But if we know that what caused your clot is not reversible, you may need to be treated for longer. And the reason why we treat you for longer is because there's evidence to show that if you treat for a short time, the risk of a clot coming back is very high.
So it has to take like 3 months.
Yeah, minimum is 3 months for treatment.
Mm-hmm. Would you discuss about the
and as
technology?
I said, you're not going to be admitted for that time.
Pardon?
I was saying that some people think that treatment needs you to be admitted. You are going to be treated from home, not to be in the hospital. But you have to adhere to treatment as prescribed by your physician.
Okay. And how about technology? You see, technology changes. Would you say that it's improving the technology you use in treating thrombosis?
Well, technology has actually helped us a lot because for a long time, like making a diagnosis was a challenge. We didn't have good ways of making a diagnosis. But with advancements in technology, now we are able to detect the smallest particles of a blood clot. You know, once blood clots in the body, when a thrombus is formed, it starts breaking down through a process called fibrinolysis. And with the new technology, we are able to pick those microparticles and tell that, oh my God, you could be having a blood clot. With ultrasound scan that is better than before, we can tell a clot. And with scans that can look at, you know, all blood vessels in the lungs, we can look for blood clots. When you look at, for example, magnetic resonance imaging, MRI of the brain, we can look at blood vessels that supply the brain and know which one is blocked, so that we can treat you better. In the heart, with technology, we can even scoop out a blocked vessel using, you know, cardiac catheterization. All that is part of technology to treat these conditions. But also, technology has helped us to, and science, they have helped us to come up with better ways of treatment of clots, which are better than before. You know, people used to worry about going to hospital every other day or every week to have their blood monitored. But now we have medicines that don't even be monitored because of advancements in science. So I think technology has played a big role in improving prevention and care for people with blood clots.
Thank you. And do you have supporters or sponsors who help you during the course of sensitization?
Yes, we have, as World Thrombosis Day, there are a number of organizations. I will not list them, but we have pharmaceutical companies, and then we have, you know, big pharma that have come in to support. And we have individuals that also support, as well as industry. You know, to pass on this message, a lot of resources are needed to have people whose job is to, you know, talk about awareness. We need a lot of funding, and it's not, you know, a national event. It's a global event, meaning that you need to be able to reach out to everywhere. So we have those who have joined us in the fight against blood clots, but I'm not going to mention the different ones because if I miss one, then the others will get upset with me.
Sure, sure. Glad to know that at least you have support because, as you say, Actually, it is resource oriented.
But we need more support.
You're right. Okay, would you share success stories on this? You being the doctor that you've met or treated thrombosis patients.
Mm. Well, I can say that there are quite a number of stories. I've been in this for a long time, and for many years we used to lose people who died of blood clots, especially those who never knew about the blood clots. But these days, I get called by a number of colleagues who say, we think this one could be having a blood clot. We have started treatment, we are referring to the hospital. And we have patients who have been treated for the first clot, they get a second clot, those who have disorders within the system that make them at high risk. So those can tell the story. It's not that it's good to have a blood clot, but at least when you survive it and you get to understand that indeed I survived because I got to know about it and I was given treatment, it helps others to also live. So we have a number of people who have been treated successfully, and we have those that have been in hospitals and they didn't get a blood clot. That is another success story because we like prevention better than treatment.
According to you, according to your interactions with the patients, are women or men prone to having thrombosis?
Well, women tend to have more blood clots than men. And the reason for that could be in a number of factors. For instance, if women are in their reproductive age, they could be pregnant. And pregnancy increases the risk of blood clots. Some could be using hormonal contraception. And we know that much as the risk is not as big, but if you are having other risk factors, use of hormones can increase one's risk of getting blood clots. But also men get them. Sometimes they don't, the way men seek for health is not as good as the way ladies do it. By the time a man goes to hospital, they're very, very sick. But at least a lady can come to hospital when they say, my leg doesn't feel good. And you evaluate them, you find a clot. But statistics show that women are at a higher risk of getting a blood clot.
Could also, like occupation, affect or a contributing factor to this for the part of women?
A job that keeps you in one position when you're not moving increases your risk of getting blood clots. If you live a sedentary lifestyle, there's some jobs that are so sedentary that you are not able to move. You leave home in a car. You reach office, you sit on a chair that has wheels, and you have someone to bring a cup of coffee or tea. For you are just on the computer and responding to conference calls. That kind of life is good, but it increases your risk of getting other conditions, including blood clots. So any lifestyle that makes you less mobile is not as good.
Do you have cases of children having thrombosis?
Do I have what?
Cases of children having the problem?
Yes, I've come across a number of children who have had blood clots, and most of them, they get blood clots following an intervention. For example, if a child is sick in the hospital and they put a central line is an intravenous access that is put in a center vein to pass medicines and take off blood samples. If it's not taken care of properly, it is the commonest reason why children get blood clots. But it's rare for a child, because they're so active, it's rare for them to get blood clots. And for them, we don't have these other comorbidities the way us old people are.
So Having been in this field for a long time, what is that significant thing that a person should really have to prevent all this, so that we make sure that we are living a lifestyle that is preventive of the thrombosis?
To me, I think if we all get to know about the risk factors for blood clots and we avoid them, then we shall do a good thing. For example, if we know that being inactive, being static is not good, keep moving. And if we keep moving forward, we shall take out blood clots. If we stop smoking, if we eat well, we eat vegetables, we drink water, instead of drinking, alcohol and others, we're going to make our blood move better than when we have all those other issues. So blood clots can be prevented. Blood clots, when you go to hospital, I said 60% of blood clots happen in the hospitals. So when you go to hospital, please talk to your doctor and ask them that, doctor or nurse, do you think I'm at risk of getting a blood clot? And if they say yes, then you ask for medicine to prevent blood clots. In some hospitals, when one is admitted, immediately they put, these compression boots on their limbs. They kind of pump the blood in the leg so that there's no situation of blood not moving. So we need to be aware of that. And we need to make sure and call upon all leaders in medicine, health workers, to keep their eyes open to thrombosis, because it's a killer, it's a big problem.
What is the role that you can encourage the government to play in improving the sector?
Well, I think government is to put, it will not reach out to individuals, but to make sure that health facilities have the ability to diagnose blood clots and to treat blood clots. And they don't need a lot. They didn't need that, because if we have medicines available, if we have technology available in all hospitals, starting with the lowest level of a health unit, they should be able to at least suspect a blood clot and be able to refer to a nearby facility for treatment. Government is not only leadership, but even the people who are being led, the nationals are part of government. We should all take personal responsibility as we wait for government to help us.
Mm-hmm. So, as you said, does it mean that in the county hospitals, high chances that they might not actually diagnose this?
That is correct. When you're in a county hospital or a remotely placed hospital, one may miss a blood clot. And I don't know if it happens in Kenya, but in so many parts where I've been in Africa, people imagine that when you have a swollen leg, it is witchcraft. That someone has made you jump over something, and now your blood your leg is swollen. And to make things worse, they will tell you, don't go to hospital. Because if they inject you, you'll die immediately. I don't know if you have that in Kenya or any other part of, yes. So this is because remotely, when people get such problems, especially when they have other ailments, they will not go to hospitals. They will think they've been bewitched. They'll think because they had good harvest, someone is against them, and then they will not go. It's important to make sure that we raise awareness at all levels, including talking to community vigilantes if we have them, or community health workers, to be able to, but a health worker is found in the hospital, but the general public should be aware of these blood clots, and they should not take it as if this is witchcraft, because it is not witchcraft.
So how do you encourage the people to know or to seek the information from? Because As you say, those are misconceptions and they are costly.
Yeah. To me, I think the way is to engage people like the media, because I know media in any form can reach anywhere. Even a person deep in the community, they can be sent a WhatsApp message and they pass it on. Oh, did you see this? It continues moving. So media in any form is one of the best ways of reaching out to the people. Either government can, promote health through that or through other ways. But it's important that individuals, not the health units only, but individuals to be aware of their risks of getting blood clots, and that if a blood clot is diagnosed, it can be treated, then it becomes much, much easier. The campaign will have moved on smoothly.
So, Dr. as we wind up, what is that important thing that you would want our listeners to know?
To me, I think the most important thing is, as the theme has been for World Thrombosis Day 2023, to move forward with thrombosis, to keep moving, to make sure that we prevent getting blood clots. Everyone should get aware that blood clots or thrombosis is very common, that thrombosis can kill, but the good news is that if diagnosed, thrombosis can be treated. But we can also prevent it, especially if we get to know about the risk factors that could be associated with blood clots.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, thank you, Dr. For your time.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for your time, and thanks for really shedding much light about thrombosis. And I hope our listeners, I included today, that we're going to take measures that you've told us so that we prevent, even as we treat for those who already are in it. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Chitab Kalenjin kakait let nebo tetutiet nebo tililindo rani kakengalal akobo kaimutiet noton nelweldos korotik anan thrombosis. Kaimutiet noton nelweldos korotik akokonu meosiek. Kakoarorwech daktari kobun Uganda noton ko Dr. Henry Dungu ko kakoarorwech kounoton ko ongengetyi matitebu ng'weny eng ng'echeret akoi ama inget, matitebu ng'weny yeta agenge akoi kale itare ngitar sait agenge inget akiwendote sekondisiek 16 noton ko dakikayat agenge asiweke kora itebu ng'weny akiker ile kewendote kale ako chechang ole lwelie korotik ko sipitali. Kangimite sipitali kokeru eng kitanda kometwoigei koyoto kora yeimuch kobitune. So imuch inyoru kanyoiset eng tuguk alak kobate kaimukokse kale itebe daktari ilechini une korotikchuk tos lwelyo ko ngole woi kokonin kokerin kale kokonin kerichek amu ngicheket chekikonyor kale kimuchi kosye kinyain ngoto kashikesich myonitok bo kolwelyo korotik. Kounotok ko ngikas ng'wonindo age tugul eng keldo yekamwa daktari ko mesis ngobwonso kelyek kale komele kakabana achicha mabonisio ui sipitali asikeker amu kale ngot kolwelyo korotik ako labat notok kitikin nekamugulit agenge koit muguleldo kokakeba. Ngot ko nebo metit kounoto. So meker kounoto akiker ile maki ui sipitali asikomwa kanyoindet amu kale kaikai kelechin achicha ichamegei kosir ilul kityo akoek tuguk alak chekakoyachekitu. Ko akoi betut noto nerube kokeny ketuye asikobit kengalale tuguk alak chekinetigei eng tililindo. Kainenyu ko Jesang Caro Sirma, testai ikere Kass TV, kimnatet net.